A final dire warning. This week, a new report from the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change says we need, quote, transformational change to tackle climate change. But the hope is that we have the know-how and technology to secure a livable future. Joining me now to talk about reactions and solutions to this report is Sustain Charlotte's Executive Director, Shannon Binns. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Tell me, you've spent so much of your career in climate policy and environment. What were your initial reactions to this report?
Well, like the last several IPCC reports, it's very sobering. It's hard to read this report and be cheerful. That's for sure. I think there was one line that stood out for me that I haven't seen in previous reports, and that is the line there is a rapidly closing window of opportunity to secure a livable and sustainable future for all. So it's a report that we all need to be paying close attention to and taking action on.
Yeah, you're right. It was so sobering and alarming. But what I kind of loved about it was it really focuses in on hope, and it uses that word that there is hope because we do know the solution and what that looks like, and that's what a lot of your work at Sustain Charlotte is. So tell me, what do those solutions look like in Charlotte?
Yeah, so in Charlotte, the largest single source of climate pollution is from the cars and trucks that we drive to get to the places we need to go. Transportation is the largest source, not only in Charlotte, but in North Carolina, as well as the country. So that's one of the reasons we're focused so much on building a community where it's easier to get around without having to get into a car for every trip or be so dependent on cars. So we do that in a number of ways, promoting more compact growth, less what's called urban sprawl. So more walkable, compact development, higher density, and building on our existing footprint as opposed to building further and further out. That shortens the distances for travel, which makes transit more efficient, makes walking and biking possible. So that's where a big focus of ours is.
So obviously this report that's on climate change, that is a solution to the planet. But talk about how this is also good for our lungs, for equity, for people. This is not just a planet solution.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the more, one of the major drivers of obesity and asthma and respiratory illnesses and a whole host of health problems is our reliance on vehicles, the pollution that they emit, air pollution that they create, as well as climate pollution, as well as how much sitting is involved and how much less active we are physically when we're driving, as opposed to walking or biking or walking and biking to a transit stop. So we know in cities that have robust transit networks, robust bike and pedestrian networks, greenway networks, people live healthier lives because they're moving more often. So there's a big health benefit from an economic and equity standpoint. Having to own and drive and own and maintain and insure and put gas in a vehicle is the most expensive type of transportation. So when we have a city that's designed around private vehicles, not only are we having a huge impact on climate change, but we're also making it very unaffordable for many households, especially our lower income households who simply can't afford the high cost of owning a private vehicle.
I know this topic of mobility is so huge with the city's kind of 2040 plan, a lot of the infrastructure going forward. What does your organization do to kind of be included in that conversation, to include climate, health, equity in these plans going forward? And how might people be able to help you guys if they're interested?
Yeah, so we pay very close attention to decisions that are being made and considered by both the city and the county that affect how we grow as a city and as a county. So we make it really easy for citizens to share their voice. I think that's one of the things that folks value the most, is that when there's the city or the county is seeking public input on an important decision, whether it be a budget or whether it be a plan or whether it be a project, we let people know about that, through our email, through social media, and make it simple for them to weigh in and use their voice as residents. And when people speak up for the type of city they want and how they want to grow, whether that means speaking up for more better bus service, more rail, more greenways, more bike lanes, elected officials really listen. It's really easy to have an impact at the local level, much easier than it is for individuals than it is at the state or federal level.
I love that you said that at the local level because these global reports can sometimes seem really daunting. Like, this is a very large problem. How can little old me do anything about this? Are you optimistic that we can get there, that we can implement these changes to secure that livable future that the report talks about?
Well, I'm optimistic because we're seeing, cities respond aggressively, more so than federal government. But even today, our federal government is taking more action than it has in recent years. I think, we see local governments, as I said, like cities. We also see companies. There's a big movement across the corporate sector to take climate change more seriously. There's more climate reporting than there's ever been, more goal setting to reduce climate pollution from the corporate sector, which of course is critical. So I think there's more action from government, more action from companies, and more action from individuals, and that all bodes well for the future. But we do have to act more aggressively and continue that momentum.
Yeah, like you started saying, the window is rapidly closing, so we do need to act now. Shannon Binns with Sustain Charlotte, I truly appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.